Guys, welcome back to another tutorial. For this one, I'm going to be building an anonymous voice note app. I want you to see this like a place where people come to speak their mind freely, say whatever they want to say without being scared of who is listening, privately done. There are no users. Everything is done anonymously. You can see these as like some of these anonymous platforms that are out there where people go create a link and people can say whatever they want to say to them anonymously. But the only difference is that this one is not where you create link and people say things about you. It's where you go and say whatever you want to say and anybody can come on the platform and listen. So I'm going to build this particular project with you guys, and at the end of this tutorial I'm going to deploy this, probably make it a real life project, and also share all that process with you guys. I think I might end up deploying it with Vercel and Render, or maybe even AWS or Google Cloud, but I will look at the best option that I feel will work and also cheap, then we'll use it to do it. This is actually a very simple project to build, and without wasting time, let's quickly get it done. So for the front end, we are going to be using Vite with React, while for the back end, as usual, we'll use Django to get it done. So let's begin. I have a very simple system design I did, just a very simple stuff, just to show you guys what we are going to be doing. So this is the client, and we have our server, then our database. For our database, we are going to be storing our data with SQLite because it's a very light project. Then for the server, we'll have different APIs. We are going to have the one that's going to help us to get the voice notes, which will comprise of the ID, voice note, and text. Next, we'll also have a get and post for getting comments, which will also have the post ID, which is this particular endpoint here. So for this post voice note, we can use to post voice note, while this one is going to use it to get voice notes. So inside our comment endpoint, we are going to have a relationship with the voice note endpoint, so that whenever somebody makes a post, a user, which is also anonymous, can drop comments. So that's practically what I did. I did not really set up the design for the front end here. I just wanted to show you guys a very simple system design I did. It just has the basic thing of what we are going to do. So now that I have shown you guys this, let's quickly go back and start building the project. All right, so I have already set up anonymous app. I did not go through the process of installing Django REST framework, or installing Django course headers. The purpose of this is because I have done previous videos where I have captured that, and because I don't want us to waste time, I want us to quickly set up this backend, then we'll deal with the front end. My goal is to make this video as short as possible. We can close down this terminal, and inside our backend, I have the API app. Now we have our backend where we have the settings.py. The first thing I'm going to do is to quickly set up some of the major things we need in our backend. One of them is to add the API app we created. Then we'll also add REST underscore framework. Then we'll add the course headers. And inside our middleware, we'll do the usual thing where we'll do course headers.middleware. We'll do .course middleware, just like this. You can put comma. Then the next thing is below this YSGI, I'm going to add our course allowed origins. We are not setting up authentication because it's an anonymous platform where anybody can have access. So for this course allowed origins, I'm going to add our front end endpoint inside it. Now let's put this, remove this one. So our front end, we are using Vite, and Vite is 5173, not 3000. If we were building with just React, that's what we would have used. Okay, so we can save this. That's what we need to do in our settings.py. Now inside our API, let's open up our models.py. Let's quickly create our models here. If you look at the system design we did, we said we are going to create a post and also comment model. Those are the two models. Now for the post model, it's going to have title, it's also going to have the audio, and it's going to have the created at to show when the post was created. Then for the comment, we'll have post, which we are going to have a relationship with the post model that we created. Is going to be a foreign key relationship. we'll have a test field and also a created at field. That's just basically what we need in our backend, in our models. So let's quickly set up the class for that. We'll do class post. So for this, we'll use, as usual, models.model. Then I can add a comment to show you guys what we are doing. So this is the model for the post audio voice note, and inside it we'll have title, which will use models.char field. We can make the title to just be 50 words. It should not be longer than that. Your title should just be as short as that. We'll have an audio field where we'll have a models.file field. There's no mass length here. Inside it we'll set upload underscore to, which we'll set to use voice notes. This is where our voice note is going to be stored. Right, we can go ahead and close this. Now the last field is the created at field, which is going to use datetime field, auto underscore now underscore add. Then we'll have a string representation of how our database should show those details, which we'll use return, for our admin, how we want to represent this in our admin. So I'm going to use formatted string, and inside the formatted string I will do post. Then we can do, let's use curly bracket, self.title, then let's use created at rather, or we can put maybe like a dash here. Okay, so this model is now ready. The next one is to do for the comment model, which is going to have a relationship with the model. So for this we'll have it as class comment, where we'll have the post model.foreign key on delete cascade. We can add related name here. For the related name, it can be comment. Let's close this. Instead of having this as content, I can just leave it as test. Models.test field, then created at models.datetime. Lastly, we also have the string representation, where we'll return comment self.id. We can do it on, so we'll get the post id instead of created at on post. Then we'll do post.id instead. You can save this in our admin. Let's quickly import from .models. We'll import all, and we'll do admin.site.register. Nope, not student. The first model we have, then the next model we'll have is the one for comment. You can close this up. Okay, so our model is now ready. Very simple model that we've created, where we have the title, the audio is the created at, then we have a string representation to show the model in our admin. Then we have the comment model, which is going to have a relationship with the post model. Pull up that by using models.foreign key to get the post. Then we have the test created at, lastly the string representation of the model. Now we can open up our terminal and do py manage.py make migrations. Okay, so go ahead and migrate. Okay, now we can also go ahead and create a super user. Manage.py create super user. Let's call it admin, then admin at admin.com. Then the simple password will suffice. Let's go ahead and bypass. Alright, so we now have an admin created. We can start setting up our serializer. Create a serializer, serializers.py file. A simple serializer actually. From rest underscore framework, we will import serializers. Next, we will import from .models. We will import all. We are going to also have two serializers, the post serializer and the comment serializer. Now, inside the post serializer, we are going to have a serializer method field, which is going to pull up the comments inside the comment model, because you know we have that, so that whenever we want to show the comments, we can use this particular post serializer that we are going to create shortly to be able to do that. And to quickly set this up is as simple as having just a couple of fields to do that for us. So what I'm going to do is to call the class post serializer. Right, we'll have serializers.serializer, but instead of just the serializer, it should be model serializer, because what we are serializing is a model. Comment, so I can add like a comment here, set up a serializer method, comment model, so we can use it to pull up the comments. And to do that, we'll do serializers dot, nope, no model serializer now. So we'll do serializers dot serializer method, call on this particular method. Once we call on this method, we'll then create our class meta, where we will assign the model to be post. Now for the fields, we'll have the ID title. Instead of content here, what I have is audio, and after the audio we have the created at, and lastly is the comments. The comments I'm calling on here is this. You know, we are using the serializer method field to pull up the comments from the comments model. Let's do a method to get the comments, and to do that we'll create a function and call it the get underscore comments, where we'll have self and object, and as simple as returning this comment serializer, then inside it will append the object.comments.all, and we will set it to be true. Let me return this. I want to see the comment. Okay, get all comments related to the post, but I'm not going to handle it this way. This one is a long method. We just do return comment serializer, right? And inside this return comment serializer, we'll do objects comments, then dot all, call on the function, and we'll set it to be many, to be equals to true. Then we will do it dot data. As simple as that. This will go ahead and return all comments related to the post for us. Now the next serializer to set up is the one for the comment serializer, and the one for the comment serializer will return the class meta. Okay, we'll set up a serializer method for the comment model comment, then we'll do class meta, and we'll return model comment, then we'll return the fields to be ID, not content. We have posts. We should have another one for test, right? Comma, then created that extra keywords here. For the extra keywords, I'm going to return the post, and I will set the required to be false. Okay, so we'll do post, right? But instead of setting it as none, I will set it to be required false, not true. Go ahead and close this. Yeah, serializer is now set up. Can go ahead and save, and let's deal with our views. Our views is also going to have just two classes, the one for the post and the one for the comments. As simple as that. We can remove all of these, and first we will do from rest underscore framework, we will import generics. Let's use generics for the API views, right? Then we will import from dot models, we will import all. Next we will import our serializer from dot serializers, import all. Then we'll import from rest underscore framework dot PSS, just to, because we are going to be PSing our post list. So I'm going to set like a multi-part PSR that's going to help us to be able to store like our audio files, right? It's not like normal text field, so we have to need a PSR that can be able to store multiple part PSRs in our database. So to do that, we'll have to use this PSR that I'm importing. So we'll do from rest framework dot PSS, we will import the multi-part parser, comma, then we'll also import the one for form parser. Let's set up the classes. The first one is the post list. Call it class post list. Let's call it create view. For this we will use generics dot list create API view. Now for this one, we will go ahead and set our query set to be post.objects.or, but I'm going to use .order by, which I'm going to use created at, so that it will be showing it based on when the post we are created at, minus created underscore at. Right now, the next thing, we'll get our serializer class, which is the post serializer. We'll have the parser classes, parser underscore classes, where we'll set the multi-path parser and the form parser. There's no need to have another comma here. So that is it. Now let's do the one for our comment list. So call it class comment list create view. We also use list create API view for this one. First, we will do serializer class to be comment serializer. So now how we have it here, comment serializer. We'll set our query set, but this time around we are going to use a method, get query set method, where we will return the comment.object. Let's do objects.filter not all. We'll use the post underscore id, where we will do self.keywords. We'll pull up the post id with this. The next one, I'm going to perform a create method. To do that, we'll do def perform create self object. Perform create self, then serializer. The first we'll do, let's do post to be equals to .objects.get, but instead of passing list, let me just use id here to be self.keywords, then I will pass it as the id. Now with this, I can go ahead and return the serializer.save, where I will set it to be post equals to post. So this is explicitly passing the post object. That's what I'm doing here with this serializer.save that I'm doing. Now with this, we have been able to set up our views, set up our serializer, and also set up the models. We are practically done, but the next thing I can do is to test what we have built. So I'm going to create a test method for this inside our test.py. At the end of it, we'll use it to test what we have built and see if it's good to go before we test run what we have built from our Django REST framework UI. For this our test, instead of using this test case, I would prefer to use the API test case, which we have from Django REST framework. And to do that, I'm also going to import it. But aside from that, we also need to import status, and we'll import from the uploaded file. There's a method called the simple uploaded file, so that we can use it to also test run what we have built in. So to do that, I will do from rest underscore framework, not just framework, we'll do .test. We'll import API test. We'll also import from rest underscore framework. We will import the status. We'll go ahead and import from Django core.files uploaded file. We will import the simple uploaded file method, import the two models we created. Lastly, we will import IO, that's input and output. Now we can then create our API test case. And to create our API test case, I will create a class and call it API, let's call it test, and inside it will set the API test case. The first method I'm going to call is the setup method. Set our test data that we are going to use to test our API. The first one is to have the audio file. Then we will set self.post. That's going to have the post.objects.create. Once I set up this method, then we'll set up the test create post method. Then we'll also set the test get post method. We will also set the one for the test create comment method. And lastly but not the least, we will set the one that's going to help us to get the comments. So I believe this explanation, I can go ahead to do what I just explained. So like I said, the first one is to set up the data method that's going to help us to pull up the data that we are going to use to test our APIs. Now, the first thing I'm going to do here is to, let me add a comment for you guys here. So that, let's call it create test data. The first thing I'm going to do is to do audio underscore file. We will then use this simple uploaded file that we called. So I'm going to call it simple uploaded file, and inside it we can set the name of the audio to be test underscore audio. Can set it as the mp3. We will do b, where we'll set it to be the dummy, let's call it your dummy audio data. Now put comma. We'll set the content underscore type to be audio slash mpeg. Let's do self, where we will call on the post.object.create. Inside it, I will append the audio underscore audio file. Now this is wrong. What I wanted to do here is audio equals to audio underscore audio file. Now this test data setup is done. This is what we're going to use to test our APIs. Now let's do the one that's going to help us to, let's set up the test create post method, right? To do that, I will create a function and call it test create post, where we'll have self, and I will set up the audio file. We'll also use the simple uploaded file. Then I will upload this test audio.mp3 file, and you know what, let's just copy everything here and put it there to save time. I will do response to be equals to self client, then the post, right? And let's call on the API endpoints, call it post, put comma. Remember, this is how we are setting up the endpoint for the API, because once I'm done with this, that's the next thing I'm going to set up the endpoints audio. Now for the audio, we will set it to the audio file that we created above, right? And I will set the format to be multi-path, not audio slash mpeg. So let's use multi. If you like, you can put slash form data, but what we need here is multi-path, so there's no need to be setting form data there. Now the next we'll do is to call on the assert.equal, and we'll check if the response.status code, the status.http200 were created. So if it is equals to this, we'll go ahead and do self.assert equal, where we'll do this post.objects.count, and we'll set it to be 2. Now let's do the next one for the test get post method. So call it setup test update post method here. When you post here, you don't update. I'm not creating all those endpoints. So when you post whatever you posted, there's no option for you to update, because it is an anonymous platform. So whatever you post there, before you post it, you should be able to cross check before you post. That's what the front end is going to handle. We should not be handling that in our backend. Whatever you've posted will be available. So for this method, we will also do the test get post. Yeah, but I can use post here instead of just post, because it's retrieving all posts, not just a single post. Now for this, we will do response. Yeah, let's see that. Response self.client.get the post. Then we will check if the response.status code and the HTTP status underscore 200 okay is equals to each other. If it is, we'll go ahead and do self.assert, where we'll check the length of the response.data and we'll set it to 1. Now the next one is to do the same process for the ones for the comment. As simple as that. Now let's do the same thing for the one for the comment. So let's call it setup test create comment method. For this one, we will do test underscore create comment. We'll do response dot, we'll set response, where we'll have self.client or post, and I'm going to make this one to be formatted string. So I'm going to set F here, where the formatted string will do self.post, and inside here I'm going to set it to be self.id. So you know what, let me remove all of this. What I'm going to do here, when we set the formatted string to pull up the endpoint for the post, which is going to use self.post.id/comments, what I'm going to do next is to set, and I'll set this as this is test comment. Now we'll do the same thing, self.assert.equal, where we'll check the response.status code and the status created. Now we can go ahead and do the one for the setup comment get method. Now for this, we'll get the comment self, right? And we will do response. Now this one can come, but we have to pull up the object from the comment model, And to do that, I will do comment dot objects, then dot create, right, where I'm going to set post to be equals to self dot post, and we'll set the text to be equals to, this is a test comment. Let's go ahead and close this one there. Now this response can use this self.client.get, where we have the post endpoint self.post.id/comment. Then we'll do the self.answer.equal, and we'll return the length of the response.data. So we can save this in our urls.py. Let's use the one for our root. We don't need to set up a separate one for this. We can remove all of these comments here. Now the next thing is to import the API views from our API. We can just do from API.views. We will import all, right? Then we'll go ahead and also import static, since we are using a media file for development purpose, and also set up this for production purpose. So I'm going to set up the path for our media files so that we can handle for both production and for both development. The one that's going to handle the one for development is going to use the normal static, while when we serve this project on our production level, we can use the static serve and the repath to be able to locate our media path for this particular project. The next thing I'm going to import after this API views is to import Django.urs. Then we'll import paths, right? Then we'll also import Now let's also import from Django.views.static. We will import serve. Okay, we can go with this endpoint for our admin. The next endpoint we'll need is the one for our post, and to do that I will set this to be post, close it with a slash, and inside it we'll pull up the post. Let's go to our views and get the way we handle it here. Post list create, we stay here, then dot as underscore view. The next one is for the comment create. Let's move the post. Now let's handle the one for our repath. That's for handling our media part for production. This is how our media part is going to be pulled up. So we're going to use, and inside it we'll use some I've forgotten what they call this in English, media, then slash bracket. You guys can help me with the name of what I just used there. I don't know what it's called. Then we'll use P, right? Then we'll put path here, close it, and set serve. For the serve we'll put comma, and we'll have the document root. We'll set it to be settings.media root in our so we have the static URL, so settings.media root. Okay, so let's go back to our settings. After this, our static URL here, we need to set our media URL and also the media root. For production purpose, this is very important, and to do that I will do media underscore URL, then set it as media, close. Then for the media root, we will do media underscore root, where we will set it to be the base directory slash media, just like this. Okay, can put space between the both of them. All right, so this is now set up. Let's come back to our URLs, continue. Now we have this part for our production. We also have to set up the one for development purpose to be able to get our media root. So we have the repath media using path here, then dot all. Okay, we'll have the serve document underscore root. Endeavor you don't make mistake here, because if you do, you might start having problem with your media files when you're in production. We'll set the patterns, then we'll do plus first, then equals to static have settings dot media underscore URL, right? We'll have document underscore root, then settings dot media root. All right, so this is now set up. Quickly cross check and make sure there's no issue. So we have the post list create dot as view, Then we'll also have the comment list create.asview. Then we'll have our report for production purpose of accessing our media file, media folder. So we can try to test run what we have done. So for this, we can try to test run this. So let's test our test first. Python manage the py test. Let's see. Okay, so let's quickly deal with that. So this should be from Django, not just import. So django.urs import path. So let's run this again and see. Name settings is not defined. Oops, I did not import settings here. Okay, so we'll import, first of all, we'll do from django.config import settings. Okay, clear. And let's try again. Name static is not defined. Okay, first of all, let's remove this. I don't even know why I'm importing it twice there. It's not needed. Bring this. Now the next thing we need to import here is the one for static. I did not know I did not import it. So we'll do from django.conf then .urs.static. We'll import static. I think that's it now. So let's run this test again. Okay, now we're having an error failing. We failed to import the api.test because in our line 4 we are importing from models. Okay, first it should not be from models, it should be from .models. Then we'll import all. Now let's clear again and run the test. Okay, our test is still failing. Cost.middleware does not define cost middleware. Okay, so let's go back to our settings, bring this down. Let's close this first and see something. I think so. You see there is comma here. I did this mistake. It should be cost headers middleware then cost middleware. We have already imported cost headers here. So if you save and oops, you see I'm causing another error for myself. Open up the terminal. Oversight can be, it's good to be running tests. You see all these things now. Okay, so we have passed 2 tests, but 2 is still failing. But let's go down. Let me see what it's saying. He said name ONG is not defined. So let's come to our line 15 in our serializers. So where do we have that? So this should be object.comments, object.comments.all. Let's save and clear and run the test again. Good. Okay, run for test in 0.042s, destroying test cases. You see it's showing okay. That means our tests have passed and we are good to go now. We can clear out this. Let's try to run our server. Come here. Now this is no longer available because we don't have that front end set up, but let's come to our backend and we can go to post, right? That's the way we have it here. Yeah, it will bring us to this place where I can create a post. I can call it I need to learn how to build stuff with Python. Okay, so let's choose this Rihanna walk and we can decide to post and we have this post. If I come here now, we also have it, the time it was created at, then the comments is empty. So if I want to pull up this particular post, the comment, so I can add a comment, I can come back in our URS. This is how we pull up. We'll have the posts. Let's copy this and when we come back here, so the ID should be 1. Yeah, so 1 slash, I will add this comment and close it. It will bring this post for me. Please post. I need to learn how to post, to build stuff with Python, right? And it has the details of the post. Now I can add a comment. Oh, that's great. We have added this comment. Now if I come back and to this, we can refresh this console. Just refresh it like this. You see that we now have the comments there anonymously. It has been added. Now we can come back here. Our backend is working perfect. It's now time to set up the backend. to set up the front end. As usual, I will open up another terminal, then we'll do npm create vite at latest. Okay, so let's go ahead and install the latest package of vite. It's asking me to put in my project name, so our project name will be front end. Then it will ask me to select the framework. Of course, it's React, and a variant will be JavaScript. Now we can cd into front end. Let's do npm install. So while this is installing, let's quickly come back here. I want to show you guys something. There are some packages we'll need in our front end, and I don't like wasting time in making the videos to be too long so that it will not bore you guys. So what I'm going to do is to quickly set up the front end architecture, all the things we need to set up, then I will paste in the front end of what I have done previously, so you guys can go look at it and work with it. We need some dependencies. One of the dependencies we need in our front end is Lucid React. So the Lucid React is the one that's going to help us with some icons that we will need. And we'll also need, so let's check for Lucid React here. Lucid-React. While that is opening, can open here. So we also need Axios. Axios is the normal way we communicate with our backend through request. We also need Framer Motion. For the Framer Motion, this one is going to help us to be able to show the let's go to Framer so you see what Framer does. This Framer is what we are going to use for animation in our front end. The next one we will need is the wave surfer. So the wave surfer is the one that we are going to use for creating the nice waves we see in our audios. So the wave surfer is going to help us to create the audio waveform for us. So things like this, what you're seeing here. Yeah, so that's what we'll need. And once we have that, I think we are good to go. So let's start installing them one after the other. So for npm, let's install this Lucid React because that's what we are using. So this is done. Clear out. Let's install npm Lucid React. Now, one of the best ways to install this faster is instead of just installing this, since it's using npm to install all the things we need. Okay, another thing I did not mention is I'm going to use Tailwind CSS for this particular front end. I'm not going to do CSS from scratch. Okay, so let's install Lucid React. We'll also install Axios. Then we'll install the wave surfer.js, and we will install Framer-Motion, right? Once we are done with this one, we'll come back and do the one for the Tailwind. Okay, all the packages has been installed. The next one is to install the Tailwind CSS that we'll be using. So we'll do npm install at Tailwind CSS/vite. That's what we are using. Tailwind CSS/vite. Okay, while that is installing, we can close this up in our front end. Let's see our package.json, open it up. Yeah, so our package.json will now have this Tailwind CSS, the Axios, the Framer Motion, the Lucid React, the wave surfer. So those are just the basic things I need to get this particular project. Okay, so close this up. Now let's just close this URS, close this test view so that everything in our backend will be closed. Let's just focus on this front end now. Can close this down for now. Now in our source, I can delete this our app.css. I don't need it. Now since we are using Tailwind, in our index.css, I'm going to delete all of this, and I will do import Tailwind CSS, just like this. Close it, and in our source, I will create another file for our api.js. Also here, create another file and call it .env. For this one, we will add the backend URL, vite _ API URL, which will be http then / localhost 8000. So save and close this. Now, in our API.js, it's very simple. We will import the Axios we created from Axios, right? Then I will do const API URL, which I will use. Let's paste this here. So we'll use the cloud dash API blah 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 stuff you're seeing there. Then we'll do const API, right, to be Axios dot create, and inside this we'll have a curly bracket where we'll set our base URL to be, we'll import it actually from the .env. We'll import .meta, then .env, then .vi underscore API URL, which mark will import meta.env. Then we'll fall back to the API URL. Let's close this so you can see this. Okay. Once I'm done with this, I can go ahead and export the default API, right? So we can use it globally everywhere to make requests to our API. So the next thing I'm going to do is to now set up another file. Inside is our source. I'm going to call it the enhanced comment section. This one is going to handle our comment section. So the way I'm going to build the front end is inside our app.js. Everything is going to be built inside there. So it's going to have so much code that beautifies our backend. So I'm just going to paste what I have done before that I showed you guys earlier. So you can just go and study the code. It's about 518 lines of code, and inside it you'll see that I have these things I have imported. I'm importing all these ones from the Lucid React. They are all icons. Then for this one, I'm importing the enhanced comment section. So for this enhanced comment section, I'm going to paste this code here. So it has all the details of the enhanced comment section I created for this particular project. So another thing I'm going to do is inside these assets, I'm going to just add some files now. So now I have this landing page. I imported it somewhere, so that's where I have to put it. Okay, so we now have the landing page, and this is how I'm importing all the dependencies. We imported the wave surfer, the motion animate presence, save all of this and also save this. Then if we open up our front end, we can go ahead and do npm run dev. Good. Now if we go back here and try to open up this again, it will just take a while to load up all the things it needs to load up. There's no error that is failing, it's just loading up our page. Okay, so yeah, so this is what we posted about a few minutes ago. I need to learn how to build stuff with Python. Our UI is still looking rough. That's probably because our Tailwind CSS is not showing yet. That is something I'm probably missing. Now let's go to our vite.config.js, because inside this place I'm already importing this, but in our vite.config.js I need to import our Tailwind CSS inside here to make it visible to our Vite. So the next thing aside from what we have imported here is to import Tailwind CSS from Tailwind CSS then /Vite that we installed, right? So when we import this, inside is our plugin. This React can stay, but bring it down so we can make provision for others. I'll go ahead and add Tailwind CSS here and save. Okay, now let's come back and see. Good, you see our project is looking fine, and we have this post that we made in our backend earlier, and we have one comment. Now if you want, you can add more comments. I wish you good luck. You can add some of the emojis. Now let's try to create the first post from our front end and see if there is a communication going on from both. But based on even adding this comment, yeah, that means a communication is going on. But let's do the one for post. So let's start. Now I'm going to allow this time. Hello, This is the Voice Anonymous platform where you can speak your mind freely, not being scared of anything, say whatever you want to say. This project is built for people who want to speak anonymously without being scared of what's going to happen when they speak out their voice on what's bothering them. So feel free to use the platform, enjoy it, and if you want to listen to what people are saying, just keep on listening to the audios, and anyone you find interesting, you can go ahead and share it. Also, drop your comments. Peace out. I am the founder, Joshi Vibe. Bye. Let's pause. So we have this. Now it's asking me to please add a title before sharing. Because I've not added a title, that's why it's previewing. Now this is the preview I can listen. Hello. This is the voice where you can speak your mind freely, not being scared of anything. Say whatever you want to say. Okay. You want to say. This project is hello. This is good. Now I can add where you can speak your mind freely, not being scared of anything. Bye. Good. You see that's working. Now we can try to add a comment. This is anonymous platform. Sharing an intro. As you can see, I cannot proceed beyond that because sharing intro. So let's do it as sharing intro. Good. So we can go ahead and share now. And you see the post is live. So you can play here. Hello. You can pause, you can continue, you can drop comments. If you want to share, you can go ahead and share this or copy the link. So when you copy the link, you see it showed me I copied it. So if I want, I can paste that link here. So this is the post that I copied. Yeah, so guys, if you want, you can also share it on Twitter or on what other platforms you want it to pop up and take you to Twitter where you can. So you see what it's doing here. In as much as I'm not logged in, I can see the post popping up. Check out this voice post. Okay, so that's it, guys. I have built this particular project for you guys. So in the next video, we are going to be deploying a platform that I will choose. Probably, like I said, it might be Vercel with render. Vercel will handle the front end, then I will host the back end with render. Or I can just use AWS to handle both ways, or maybe we'll use Google Cloud platform to do that. So just stick around. I'm gonna do that in a couple of days and this project will be live. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, remember to drop in the comments. I just made everything simple. I'm going to put the projects on GitHub, don't worry. For this front end that I just copy pasted what I've done previously for you guys, I'm going to drop the project on GitHub so you can look at it and quickly set up yours too if you want to try to play around. Now, when you set it up, don't just set it up and leave it like that without understanding what is going on. Because if you look at what I have done, there are so many things going on inside this app.jss. Try to understand what I'm doing. Try to understand. There are so many functions that I've set up. Like I have a function that's handling the timestamp. I have the one for the toast. I have the one for fetching the post, where I'm using news effects and the likes, and also have the one for the recording waveform. I also have the one for adding comments. Then we have the one for recording. So many things going on. We have the one for stopping recording. Then we have the toggle play, the one that is helping us to play and pause. Then we also have the one for previewing. We also have the one for sharing, where we are having all these different share URLs that I have added. I think we have for LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, so then we have the one for copy. These ones are not your own. You just copy it and post it wherever you want to post. Yeah, so guys, that's practically what is going on here. So try to read this code, understand what it's doing. Don't just copy and paste and feel like you have arrived. It was nice to teach you guys this. Until we meet again, it's bye-bye for now. I remain your humble servant, Joshi Vibe. Guys, please subscribe. If possible, like the video, share. Please help me grow. You know, when I see you guys subscribing to my page, that's one of the things that motivates me to keep on making videos like this, guys. I promise this year I'm going to be doing much more videos, teaching so many things, not just for Django only. I might even teach you guys other languages, but we'll take it one step at a time. Let's try to digress a little with building powerful projects with Django React. Once we are done with that, we can then start diving into other languages to do so many things together. So guys, take care and see you in the next video where we'll be deploying this project. Peace out.